Halla Ruth came into the world the 9th of November 1987. She was beautiful and appeared to be a healthy baby. 2 days after birth, I noticed that Halla Ruth was weak and tired. She was having problems swallowing. Suddenly, she turned blue in the face, and I noticed that she had stopped breathing. I was alone with her when this happened, and no one believed me. This happened several times the following days. I begged the doctors to examine her, but they told me that there was nothing wrong with her, but that I was tired after the birth and needed to rest and stop worrying. Halla Ruth didn't come alone into the world. Her beloved sister and best friend in life, Silja Björg, came with her and has been by her side ever since. Two days after we brought them home from the hospital, Halla Ruth had a grand mal seizure. I was breastfeeding her in the middle of the night when she stopped breathing. Her whole body became stiff and she became lifeless. When the ambulance arrived, she appeared to be gone from this world. In the ambulance on the way to the hospital, she came to life again. She stayed at the hospital for a whole week and all kinds of tests were taken. Her heart, brain and digestive organs were examined without finding the cause of her illness. After that, we watched her day and night to be able to help her when she stopped breathing, which happened frequently. The symptoms continued, but were milder the following months. We brought her to the most prominent doctors, both in Iceland and Sweden. She often became hospitalized, and the doctors gave her different diagnoses as the cause of her illness. One of these diagnoses was acid reflux, and the treatment was antacids mixture, which we forced her to take 4 times a day for months. This mixture contained aluminium, which we understood later had worsened her symptoms. Her health became worse and the laryngospasm, breathing stops and swallowing problems became a daily occurrence. At the age of 11 months, Halla Ruth had another grand mal seizure, and I gave her mouth-to-mouth help. When she came to the hospital, they put on her an apnea alarm, which she had on the following months. That was a great help. We could sleep at nights and depend on waking up with the apnea alarm when she stopped breathing. There were not many nights without an alarm. Silja was running around the house while Halla sat on the floor watching her sister. Halla didn't have the muscle strength she needed, and the muscles were stiff. She could hardly crawl slowly around. I read all I could find about different diseases, searching for the cause of her illness. The Friday, 31st of March, I grabbed my home medical book. I read the chapter about endocrine diseases, and on the last page was a short description of hypoparathyroidism. It was all there in front of me, the laryngospasm and all the other symptoms. The following day, she had increasing symptoms. On the Sunday morning, 2nd of April, she was hospitalized. The first thing I asked the doctor was if he could see in her files if her serum calcium had ever been taken. There was nothing about calcium tests in her files. I asked him to check her calcium in the blood right away. He told me that her illness had nothing to do with calcium, that her nails, teeth and bones seemed to be normal. He said that we needed to concentrate on finding out the cause of her severe illness at that moment. That the calcium test could wait a better time. They were not doing any unnecessary tests on Sundays. All kinds of blood tests were taken that day, and even a test from the spinal fluid. The cause of her severe illness was not found. She was slowly getting weaker during the day, and in the evening we realized that she was dying. She was losing her consciousness. I desperately kept on begging the doctor to check her calcium, and I threatened to take her out of the bed and bring her to another hospital. Finally, in the evening, another doctor took over the shift and had the calcium test taken. Finally, the results came back, and her serum calcium was unbelievably low. It was only 1.23. The doctor gave her calcium IV immediately. After a few minutes, she opened her eyes and smiled to us. Dr. Aronson, a pediatric endocrine specialist, took over. He did all in his power to find out the right treatment. The treatment was D-vitamin and calcium in IV. Dr. Aronson explained the disease hypoparathyroidism, that Halla Ruth's parathyroid glands were not producing any parathyroid hormone which is necessary for the production of calcium in the body. I asked him if the parathyroid hormone could be replaced as all other hormones we need. He told us that there were so few patients in the world that there were no benefit for the drug companies to produce it. After 3 weeks at the hospital, she came home and the spasms were gone. She became stronger every day and started to walk. She could take part in the children's play outside, and life was wonderful. The battle, however, was not over. The following years, she continued her D-vitamin treatment, which erased many of Halla Ruth's symptoms, but her calcium levels were never normal. When she reached the normal level of serum calcium, she began to show symptoms of hypercalcemia. That meant that she urinated a lot, drank a lot of liquid, had nausea and stomach pains with poor appetite. She was often very tired. Her serum calcium levels varied from day to day. She had symptoms of either hypercalcemia or hypocalcemia. We went to the hospital daily to measure the calcium in her blood, and the visits became a natural thing in our everyday life. Nurse Gumbrit, who took the blood tests of Halla Ruth, became our dear friend. The sisters loved to visit her. Halla Ruth often had respiratory infections and asthma, and also several urinary tract infections. When she had the infections, her calcium level dropped down, and it took a long time to get the calcium up again. At the age of 4 years, a kidney test showed that the kidney's function was decreased and that her kidneys would not last for long on the D-vitamin treatment. I refused to believe that Halla Ruth couldn't get a treatment with the parathyroid hormone, which I knew she desperately needed. I promised Halla Ruth that day that she would receive the parathyroid hormone. Money was not going to stand in the way for her health. My two oldest children were in universities and had an access to Medline. They printed out all about hypoparathyroidism. The following year, I read hundreds of Medline articles. I was hoping that someone, somewhere, had information about HPTH treatment or study. I had a strong faith in finding something somewhere. I wrote 35 letters to some of the authors of the Medline articles. Few weeks later, I had received 18 answers, and 3 of them told me about the study that Dr. Karen Weiner at NIH was doing. I contacted Dr. Karen Weiner. On October 1st, 1993, Dr. Karen Weiner told me that Halla Ruth was welcome to take part in her protocol. That was the best news we had ever heard. On January 5th, 1994, Halla Ruth started on the HPTH and has been on it ever since. She was the first child in the world to be treated with HPTH. This was the beginning of a new life for Halla Ruth. Her calcium has been stable and she doesn't suffer anymore of the side effects from the D vitamin. And her kidney function has recovered and is 100%. Since she started the HPTH treatment, she has been able to enjoy her strong interest in life. In August 1998, the news came that everyone who had been in the study for more than 3 years had to quit. This was like being struck by a lightning. I got information about orphan drugs and I contacted Lars Uno Larsson, director of Swedish Orphan. I told him Halla Ruth's story and asked him if he could help us to get the parathyroid hormone produced for Halla Ruth. In October 1999, Halla Ruth received the parathyroid hormone from the Swedish Orphan. In September 2003, Halla Ruth started on Forteo, the parathyroid hormone from Eli Lilly. Halla Ruth and Silja Björg are both A students and are planning to become a medical doctors. They are determined to fight for people suffering from hypoparathyroidism to get a better quality of life, like Halla Ruth has received. Their goal is that the HPTH will be available for everyone who needs it.